I'm in the beautiful city of Teresina, which is in a neighboring state to mine. I'm here for a social media event. I'm going to be a keynote speaker tomorrow. I should probably have prepared this keynote address. I got probably about 6 hours to write it still, so we're doing good time. I don't want to talk about that right now. What I want to talk to you about is something that I've actually touched on before. Remember I said a couple of videos ago how everybody just loves being mad at everything, right? There's an outrage economy, an outrage industry for reals, right? No matter what you're angry about, there is somebody on the internet being super mad about it with you, articulating the reasons why you and everybody else should be mad about that. And these people are making a bunch of money. They're getting eyeballs, and they have pretty much guarantees that this will never, ever, ever end. We have now entered the worst stage of late stage capitalism, which is everybody's super angry about it, and because there is a financial incentive to be angry, or at least to pretend to be angry anyway. I don't think all of these guys actually believe in what they say. This will never end, ever, and this is not a right or left thing. I want to make this clear. There are people selling outrage on the left, there are people selling outrage on the right, all over the place. In fact, the whole idea of left and right is so outdated, but anyway. I was wasting time on Instagram, like, that's what we do now, right? And a little video popped into my timeline, and it was a clip from a movie called Atlas. It's a new Netflix science fiction movie starring, for some reason, Jennifer Lopez, which I was actually surprised that she's still acting on account that she cannot act, that people seem to hate her. But yeah, I guess Netflix thought that she was a bankable star. Way to go, J-Lo. Atlas. From what I've seen in the trailer, which in true contemporary fashion just basically gives away the entire movie. Like, the character starts like this, and then you see the transition, and then you see, like, okay, now there's a whole character arc in the trailer. Anyway, I want to say this right out of the gate. The movie looks terrible, and it sounds terrible too. It has some of the worst writing I've heard in my life. The tone is all over the place. They're trying like the Marvel thing, where they're like, all the quips and stuff. I feel like I've had enough, like I imagine you as well.
Atlas, my primary protocol is to keep you alive.
Same!
So I just want to say that I'm not saying that this is a great movie. In fact, it looks far from it. But the scene that this Instagram page chose to highlight, well, I'll let you see it for yourself.
Okay then.
Wait, how did it know I wanted coffee?
I'm sorry, but my pronouns are she and her, not it.
I find that actually more interesting than perhaps the rest of the movie will end up being, right? And the reason for that is because, unlike some people who got really mad at this scene, I actually spent a great deal of time reading sci-fi, discussing sci-fi, playing sci-fi games. Like, it's a huge thing for me, right? It was my dad's favorite genre. It was something we enjoyed together. So for that reason, like, my e-reader, it's here somewhere, all sci-fi novels basically, right? In that scene where J-Lo's character asks, how did it know I wanted coffee? To which the robot responds, actually, my pronouns are she and her, not it. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Because the idea of robots wanting more humane treatment is not new. In fact, it can be argued it's the oldest thing in sci-fi involving robots, artificial people in any way. Artificial people, in fact, comes to mind because that's I think one of the first times I saw that. I was watching Aliens, and Bishop, played by Lance Henriksen. How do you say this guy's name? Henriksen, right? That sounds about right. Never seen any interviews with him. Is he still alive? Probably not. Anyway, the robot gets called an android, to which he reacts with like clear discomfort. And then he says, I prefer the term artificial person myself, right?
I prefer the term artificial person myself. Is there a problem?
Bicentennial Man. The whole story is about a robot trying to be recognized as a person, right? This has always been a thing in sci-fi. So that scene, at least the way I interpret it, right? Art is subjective, of course, but that scene seems to be like, look, they're taking that old trope, and then they're just using the language that we understand better today. the idea, whether you like the use of pronouns or any of that, the point remains that this is a part of our culture now. Whether you love it or you hate it, this is a common language that we understand. Some people put pronouns in their bios. Some people make fun of people who put pronouns in their bios. But regardless, this is something we understand, right? So it seems to me that they're simply making a comment on this old robot sci-fi trope, but using contemporary language, right? And that's what sci-fi has always done, right? They take something that we're going through right now and they try to say, hey, what if this, but in space, with laser guns, with robots, right? The best sci-fi, anyway, in my opinion, right? If all you like about these movies is like the visual spectacle and the explosions, that's fine. Not everybody's looking for the same thing in these things. But it sounded really dumb to me to be this worked up over that scene, right? It's a terrible movie. Get mad about the whole thing. But that scene, I thought it took me by surprise. I did not expect to be surprised by like a different take on something in a stupid J-Lo sci-fi movie from Netflix of all places, right? The movie isn't great or terrible because of that scene. I just thought it was interesting. I was like, okay, I get it. People in the comments were so mad. Dude, it used to be that Twitter is where everybody's super mad and then Instagram is like more chill. But that's the problem with the outrage economy. Gotta keep that outrage flowing no matter where. Can't just target the people who are miserable on Twitter. Gotta make the Instagram people miserable too. We got something for you to be mad about. I mean, we got nothing for you to be mad about, but we'll act like you should be mad about that. I just can't take it anymore, dude. I just can't take it anymore. This is so dumb. The people in the comments, they made it perfectly obvious that they don't understand what that scene is trying to show. Like, what's the vibe of that scene? And, I mean, maybe they didn't see the trailer, right? But you see the trailer, and remember how I said that there's a whole character arc in that, I think, 2-3 minute trailer? It's made very obvious that you have a character that hates robots, that doesn't respect robots, that says explicitly that she doesn't trust robots, and then she's paired with a robot, and now guess what? They have to get along, right? And then in the end, they're made friends, and it's Titanfall 2. It's Titanfall 2, but with J-Lo. So legitimately something I don't think anybody wanted. But you see how stupid this is? How the outrage machine makes people stupid? Like, you lost the ability to just connect with that on a different level. All you heard was pronouns, and then you're yelling like that bald dude nearly giving himself a coronary because there's an option to choose your pronouns in Starfield.
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns! Fucking gender ambiguity! Fucking current day Californian shit! Because that's all we
That's an adult man. Like, you gotta admit, even if you're annoyed by the so-called progressive agenda that they're shoving down your throats and all that, like, whatever. The irony here is that sci-fi has always been like this. Always. Sci-fi has always been like this, dude. The first interracial kiss ever on American television, Star Trek. You know damn well that back then what people were saying was, oh, see the agenda they're shoving down our throats. They're trying to make us okay with white people and black people kissing. What do you think they were trying to argue with that? What do you think? I bet that people, like the ideological counterparts to the people getting mad at this stuff today, back then would have said, I cannot take it. This all this integration being shoved down our throats. I just want to watch Star Trek. And then they keep politicizing everything and ruining it. Dude, Star Trek has always been about how we treat each other through the lens of, but in space, right? Cyberpunk, my favorite genre of all, right? It's all about, hey, look at this capitalistic hellscape we built for ourselves. All this tech, and we're miserable for it. Rings very true these days, doesn't it? What I'm trying to say is this. There was an interesting insight in that scene. But you hear the words that they conditioned you to hate, and then that shuts down the analytical part of your brain, and then you're foaming at the mouth. I don't think the movie is good. In fact, I would make the brave stance to say that it looks like dog shit. But I kind of want to see it because it's on Netflix. It's free. And I actually take a lot of enjoyment out of watching bad movies. See, this is something else that you guys are missing out on this. While you're like angry, like, I don't know, man. I imagine these people going through their days and like, oh, fucking robots and pronouns. Like, holy shit. I can't. Dude, like, honestly. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you want to watch this movie? This looks like trash. But as I was saying, I almost interrupted myself there. You're even robbing yourself of the pleasure of watching a terrible movie and making fun of it relentlessly, which is what I would do right now if I didn't have, as I mentioned, a presentation in, I don't know, 5 hours? I should have really prepared better. Anyway, as I keep saying, I'm so glad to be back. I promised an upload schedule, and here it is. Anyway, I got stuff to do. This hotel room is a mess, so I will catch you in the next one.